into media scrutiny of different kinds and media channels at different times is very much this belief that there's a lot of censorship and gatekeeping going on, and that, if only CNN wasn't so liberal, or if only, Netflix wasn't choosing content the way it's choosing it, was only Twitter and Facebook didn't have policies that censor certain people over other people, there would be space for him for other folks on there. So it seems like the theme here is very much gatekeeping and censorship. And yeah, we've seen a lot. I think similar on the technology infrastructure side, we've seen a lot of pretty right-wing websites get shut down from services like Cloudflare a few years ago, AWS, even the actors weren't really happy with the way Pioneer, for example, was handling certain content moderation aspects. Yeah, it's not hard to see sort of the common thread across the three separate divisions right now.
Even as we follow harder, once it started getting traction, getting more users, regulation started to be happening. This would be something that also happens in positive consequences. Let's talk about because the way this is being set up is a little interesting and something I'm not very familiar with. I guess it's called a SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company, and I guess they plan to go public without a fully fleshed out product. It's some interesting maneuvering things.
A SPAC, as you mentioned, the Navistar company is effectively sell its base money when it did its IPO a while ago. So that industry is public and totally clear up right now. Its price is now over $45 from just under 10 at market close yesterday. So you can already see how popular former President Trump's projects are on the public market. And then the idea is that it's going to acquire company and technology group, which is, the actual company that's supposed to be running all of these media and social media projects. And through that merger, the company and technology group is going to, in the end, be publicly traded and sort of take the place of the SPAC entity.
You can reach the order, it seems like the Truth Social on the App Store. When is this whole thing supposed to be taken off?
So the plan, again, it's all, information soon, but the plan that they announced is that it's going to go into beta phase and beta testing later this year, and then in early 2022 is when it goes to actually launch.
Well, as we mentioned at the beginning, we know that the president has been kind of toying with this for a long time, obviously, once he got kicked off Twitter. You had a tweet a few months ago that President Trump was being picked this exact same thing, basically, but at the time it didn't seem like he was fighting this way. He didn't want to put his full name behind it. We don't know this changed since then.
It doesn't change. Obviously, hopeful that all these things that we talked about, censorship, censorship companies, from the news companies being very biased. So it's not surprising that folks have been coming up with business proposals and different projects and companies and entities that you might be interested in, and just kind of throwing together a lot of the themes that he talks about a lot. So yeah, a few months ago, we got a deck that had been pitched to him. The deck was pretty similar in spirit and in some of the details to the one that was published yesterday, primarily for the media and technology group. We're showing curiosity running the company and whether or not it's sustain through the scope, but there's not a lot of details, so we're talking about that. But yeah, this is very much in line with what you would expect President Trump to be interested in doing.
The president obviously is still very popular, so there probably will be a demand for something like this, but how big will it take over the mainstream, right? Will it truly rival some of these companies who are already well established and still heavily viewed? We also heard that the Truth Social was already hacked within a few hours of the announcement. People were able to sign up and set up profiles in the name of Donald Trump and Mike Pence. So security is a thing they might not have fully fleshed out either. So all this stuff still yet to happen on this, but interesting look at it so far. Here, Kokovacheva, tech and business reporter at Axios. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
air conditioning, Kfi Am 640. When we come back, we'll tell you about the master logistics of returning your online order. Well, in fact, mortgages have already started going up on the roof.
That's right. You can see how it's owned. You know, it's very delicious. 2.5% rate. 2.71 as well. And we also put thousands out in cash. You save on everything. Only with our process fast and easy. Doing cat earnings and locking money for now.
Call own at 833-OWN or go to owning.com and lock in a 30-year fixed refi at today's 2.5% rate, 2.731 APR. That's 833-OWN or owning.com. And I'm all kinds of fun. I just want to find out how to do it in the top of the world. I'm looking at the kind of big football on all. So I think this is up to kind of the call on me at 833-OWN or log on to owning.com. That's 833-OWN or owning.com.
Go Solar American style with Semper Solaris. Semper Solaris is a local, better-known solar and battery storage contractor. Add Tesla Powerwall and be ready for blackout. We get the job done with esprit de corps and honor. Semper offers new AC systems with a lifetime warranty and new roofs with a 50-year warranty. We hire vets and give back to the community with our Semper Cares initiative. Go solar and declare your independence. No doubt. Interest or payments till 2023. Get the federal 26% solar and battery tax credit. $500 downloadable coupon. $500 off for military, first responders, and healthcare workers. Call 877-211-5591. That's 877-211-5591. Or visit sempersolaris.com. Federal tax credit based on eligibility. Consulting tax advisor. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Some restrictions apply. New customer government policy website for details. Private advisors and informed on what CSW 97152.
Upper security department is minimum name and average value of product, 50% loan to value, and credit rating by credit score. Certain restrictions apply. Subject to credit approval. NMRS 3390. Loans made or arranged pursuant to California Financial Lenders Law License 36036970. Equal housing number.
Unbelievable. Home buying rates have dropped again at Imperial. Today, Imperial is offering a 1.875% APR with no points and no lender fees. Did you hear that? A 1.875%. Don't think you qualify? I bet you haven't called Imperial. You don't have to have corporate credit to get this great home loan. So lock in this unbelievably low 1.875% fixed rate APR with no points and no lender fees. So call Imperial before the rates go up. Call them at 1-800-918-6200. That's 1-800-918-6200. And just go to imperialloan.com. Imperial. Hello, Mike.
Welcome to the following program of Daily Service. Let's move over to the wars in the future. First, the politics. After the place called and the independent warnings from 6 to 10. Do you get excited to go to Walmart or Target or Costco? I ask like on a Saturday or Sunday. I'll say to my wife and my daughter, when they get going to Walmart and they both say yes, King Conway Jr. Show. On KFI. Here's the rule. Whenever you vote yes on a proposition, it's really no. Whatever the proposition says, it's not the first. This is citizens for. It has nothing to do with citizens. It's a special interest group and saying we are citizens. It's all across. On KFI. On KFI. Another way that the world seems to rest on the shoulder. And sometimes life seems like it's filled only with confusion and pain. But I assure you, I'm glad it's coming for you. The Jesus Christ Show. This morning at 6 on KFI. And supported.
This is KFI AM 640, heard everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. I'm also the mayor, and you're listening to the Daily Dive, Weekend Edition. Finally for this week, what happens when you order things online and send them back? The relationship makes it go back to the shelf and on its way to another person, but that's rarely true. Oftentimes, they make their way to bulk resellers overseas, they ship for parts, or just print them away. Returns are a big problem for companies that are expected to have generous return policies as a default. These reverse logistics are many times cost prohibitive and a hassle to deal with. For more on the nasty logistics of returning your online items, we'll speak to Amanda Mull, staff writer at The Atlantic.
There are these sort of like mischievous behaviors that online shopping has incentivized people into, and sometimes not just incentivized, but explicitly encouraged people to adopt. Ordering multiple sizes, ordering stuff you're not sure about, with the promise that you can return in 30 days or in a year or in 6 months or however long, with no risk or with a full refund, things like that. These promises, these incentives exist in order to convert people from shopping in person, which is what people have done since dawn of time, to keep as long as we've had commerce, to shopping online. And for a lot of types of purchases, clothing, shoes, cosmetics in particular, it was a little bit difficult to encourage people to start ordering these things on the internet because personal taste and fit and sort of the indescribable qualities of something matter a lot to a person in these types of purchases. So in order to convert people to online shopping and to get them used to buying more and more types of goods on the internet, retailers basically had to set up this policies to make people feel comfortable doing that, to take away all of the risk from buying a pair of jeans on the internet instead of going small and buying in person. And that usually sort of takes away that people understand online shopping and that people understand what will happen after they buy something and their expectations of how stores will act if they want to send something back. So we're in a situation where people who shop online, they choose for clothes or cosmetics or home furnishings for literally anything, expect to be able to buy a bunch of stuff they don't know if they actually want or don't know if it will fit and return it and get their full refund and have weeks or sometimes months in order to do that.
It's pretty baked in now. I mean, I know there's people that shop specifically on that. Like, if they don't have a good return policy, then, I'm going to put my business elsewhere.
People really expect these types of policies when they're looking to make a purchase online now because they're really widely adopted. And there's a lot of consumer research showing that if your company does not offer, at the very least, 30-day full money-back guarantee policy, then people just won't order stuff for you. And the competition is so stiff online that retailers can't really afford to not offer these policies. So you get people ordering a lot of stuff that they're not sure about, a lot of stuff that they're not fit, and things like that. And as a consumer, once you send something over the post office, check the email, whatever, your visibility of what happens to that thing basically ends. And that is largely by design. Because I think that if people understood what happens after they return something this way, or what might happen, they would be a lot less likely to buy as much as they do. And it's in the best interest of stores for you to buy a lot.
Totally. I mean, your story in that sense is pretty eye-opening. So let's talk about the scope of this real quick. Estimates vary, but in the past year, they say that 1/3 to 1/2 of all clothing bought in the U.S. came from the internet. So when we're talking about return rate, the average brick-and-mortar store has a return rate in the single digits, but online, this is anywhere from 15 to 30%. And retailers took back more than $100 billion in merchandise sold online. So we're talking about a lot of stuff coming back. Now let's get into some of the messy parts. What happens when stuff gets sent back? Like I said, if it will go to both resellers sometimes, for electronics or something, they'll be shipped to parts, and a lot of times, things are just permanently thrown away.
What happens after you return something depends largely on what that thing is. If it's a draft from a recast fashion store, a lot of times that is just something around. Because if you look at the numbers of it, companies who sell this stuff are just going on math. They're not going on anything else. By one estimate, every return costs at a retailer is $10 to $20 before you factor in the cost of shipping in either direction. So if you are, sending something back at the end of the return policy, it might be 70 days, it might be 60 days, and it's a fast fashion dress, then it's not clear, it's not obvious whether or not that thing will even still be for sale on the retailer's website for it to be restocked and sent to somebody else. It's also not clear whether that thing can be sold at full price if it is still stocked. Because fast fashion in particular turns over so fast, and because its fit tends to be really variable, the quality of goods tends to be really unpredictable, it has this really high return rate and really pretty bad rate of restocking.
That's why in some cases they even say, hey, well, keep that size, maybe gift it to somebody else, we're going to send you the right size. It's like, you don't even want to deal with it coming back. Just hand it off to somebody else.
And retailers like Amazon, Target, I think Walmart also have started just telling people to keep stuff that they want to return in the past couple of years. It's sort of giving away the game here. Because if they're not taking it back, it's because they would need to be taking it back. So this whole process for one item is often just too expensive to accommodate some of the cheap stuff that people buy. And people buy it by the container load. So when that happens, things are either going to be thrown away, just put directly into a landfill, or they're going to be offloaded to a sort of gray market that not a lot of people are aware of. In that stuff gets sold off by the pound, by the pallet, by the container load. Some of that will go to outlet stores, off-price stores, TJ Maxx, things like that. Big Lots to be sold again, hopefully, and if not, then probably thrown away. Or it gets sold to middlemen who ship it overseas and piece by piece go through it and see what they might be able to sell to people in poorer countries through stores there, and then what they don't think they can sell in stores there gets thrown away. So it becomes a trash problem in another country. But it's really hard to keep track of what happens to any of this after it's off the initial retailer's books. They aren't keeping track.
You move so naturally through your article. That's why I always appreciate your writing. You make enough in an article. So here's the point where you start thinking, why don't people start donating this stuff more? Why don't companies donate this? And that's another problem too with money, obviously. There's a thing called brand dilution. You start giving away things too much, it's going to make some of your other stuff seem less valuable. So it's not in their best interest to even donate things that are really just going to be going away.
And you especially get into this with things that are sort of like upmarket branded, so name brand shoes, clothing, things like that. There have been a number of distinct scandals over the years with particular luxury brands who have been caught destroying, burning, shredding piles of winter coats and things like that, which are things that people in the United States need. That's under no circumstances something that everybody has access to here. But those things end up destroyed because the calculation that brands do is that if they start clothing poor people, essentially with their wares and with their brand name, then the people who buy their stuff for full price are going to decide that it's not worth that anymore. So their branding here does not survive charity. And like I said, there's no regulation on what businesses are supposed to do with their excess stock. So they are absolutely free and clear if they make the calculation to destroy this stuff instead of giving it to people who could use it.
The retail logistics industry is in two parts. The forward logistics, which is all the stuff moving it from the manufacturers all the way down to us. Reverse logistics is what we're talking about right now. That gets really messy. It's expensive for the companies to take it back, and as we've been discussing, a lot of times doesn't get restocked, any of that. So what do companies say about this? I mean, it seems to be a threat, at least money-wise, how this baked-in idea now that everything should be able to be returned regardless, it's expensive. So what do companies say about it? What are they doing about it?
This is one of those sort of rare topics in consumerism where basically everyone involved agrees that this is bad and that we wish it weren't like this. Reverse logistics, two different experts that I spoke to for the article used the word nasty to describe it. It is really expensive, labor-intensive, sometimes literally gross work to do. They would rather not have to deal with it. They would rather find good ways to limit their returns and to ensure that more people who bought from their stores actually kept their merchandise. That would make a lot of things about their businesses a lot easier. But they've got a consumer base that has a lot of choices and has been incentivized into a certain set of behaviors that really nobody is willing to let go of. I think that, as far as everyone I spoke to and what I know about the consumer industry, what would probably have to happen for this to change to any significant extent would have to be some sort of regulation on how retailers are allowed to dispose of their extras. Probably Amazon deciding that they just don't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah.
That you're going to have to keep your stuff if you order it, and relying on the fact that they are so big and so deeply woven into so many people's lives to cushion the fact that they would probably lose some customers over that. And then once the big boys do it, the smaller companies are sort of free to move in line with those policies. But until someone with some real power decides that this is something that's not going to be tolerated anymore, I think people are just going to end up continuing to engage in this behavior. And for a lot of people, like,
if you live in a rural area, if you don't have reliable transportation, if you wear a size outside of a really narrow norm, if you are disabled in certain ways that make it harder to use physical stores for you, or if you just live in a place where a lot of the stores have closed because everybody shops online now, you might not have a lot of great options except ordering 3 sizes of one thing on the internet and trying to figure out what your size is in a new store or something like that. Even if you don't want to partake in that behavior, even if you understand that it's bad, there are just a lot of circumstances that sort of push you into it because that is how the retail powers that be have decided that this is going to work.
It's just so interesting in a time when we're hearing constant stories about supply chain issues and manufacturing problems. This is that flip side of the stuff. Once you get your stuff and you send it back, and for whatever reason, it gets just as messy. So it's a great article. I suggest everybody go out and read the whole thing. Amanda Mull, staff writer at The Atlantic, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Dive Weekend Edition. You can catch a fresh episode of the podcast every morning, Monday through Friday on iHeartRadio. You can also follow us on social media, at Daily Dive Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. Stay tuned for the Jesus Christ Show next. But first, into the newsroom. This is Kfi Am 640, more stimulating talk.
We tried less stimulating talk. It ended poorly. KFI. Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Movie Memorial. I'm Brian Berman, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The director of photography killed at a movie set in New Mexico is being remembered by hundreds who came out for a candlelight vigil in apple trees.
Let's just take a moment.
Helena Hutchins was shot and killed with a prop gun by actor Alec Baldwin on the set of a western titled Rush. International Cinematographers Guild President John Lilly said Hutchins was a mother, a wife, and an accomplished cinematographer. The vigil for Hutchins is also being planned for Burbank later today. News brought to you by Ruger Hero. The Dodgers' playoff run is over. Atlanta's Eddie Rosario smacked a 3-run homer to lead the Braves to a 4-2 victory over the Dodgers last night in Game 6 of the NLCS series in Atlanta. The Braves won the NLCS 4-2, and they'll take on the American League champion Houston Astros in the World Series, which starts on Tuesday. All social activities at USC fraternities are indefinitely suspended. The USC Interfraternity Council says the decision to suspend on-campus social activities at USC fraternities comes after allegations of sexual abuse and drugs being taken with drinks at Signal News Fraternity and other fraternities. LA police are confirming that the president of USC's Signal News chapter, Ryan Shipley, is a suspect in a sexual assault case. You may have to spend less on turkey dinner and Christmas presents and more on gas this holiday season.
It does look more and more likely that the highest prices this year will come just ahead of the holiday.
Gas Buddy analyst Patrick DeHaan says the drop in prices we normally see in the fall probably isn't coming this year. Increasing prices are being blamed on coal and gas trouble abroad. DeHaan says it's a good idea to shop around for gas as prices at some stations could be up to $1 less than other stations. Americans are collectively spending $488 million more on gasoline every day than just a year ago. Amy King, KFI News.
The holidays will be coming to Light Angel Stadium in Anaheim. Magic of Lights Grant Reeves says a new drive-thru experience will be lighting up the stadium parking lot November 19th to December 26th.
We're going to see different things, different holiday themes, like the Victorian holiday theme, the mega tree. We're going to see Santa and the reindeer, 12 Days of Christmas, Christmas around the world, monster truck, Christmas display there, and all kinds of different things for the kids to enjoy.
Magic of Lights displays, illuminated canopies, and digital animation are all constructed with thousands of individual LED lights. Amazon is hiring for the holiday season. Amazon Senior VP for Global Delivery Services, John Feldman, says the company is looking to hire 150,000 workers.
And that's the fun part about the holidays, is you really feel the energy, you feel the excitement in the building of really delivering Christmas.
Amazon's also starting a new feature that'll give shoppers an in-store pickup option. And still more leaked documents don't look good for Facebook.
Facebook in India dithered in curbing hate speech and anti-Muslim content and lacked enough local language moderators to stop misinformation. That false news at times led to real-world violence. The leaked files show these problems have plagued the company for years, particularly in cases where members of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ruling party created multiple Facebook accounts to amplify anti-Muslim content. They highlight Facebook's constant struggle to cross abusive content in the world's biggest democracy and Facebook's largest growth market. Mike Ross, KFI News.
The number of COVID-19 cases in LA County is on the rise. Health officials reported 1,173 new cases yesterday, bringing the total in the county to over 1,684,000. 15 additional deaths were confirmed, and LA County has seen 26,540 COVID-19 deaths since the pandemic began last year. The number of people hospitalized with COVID in LA County hospitals dropped by 7 yesterday to 614. And we are looking at a crash on 605 in Millwall.
680 on the southbound side, right at the 105, this one is the right lane and the off-ramp. The traffic is slow as you approach. See Long Beach on the 91 west on Atlantic, a crash clearing to the right shoulder. Traffic is backing up to Cherry. And we have a closure in downtown LA. 101 north and southbound between the 5 and the 10. That's a weekend closure there. All lanes will be shut down until 6 a.m. Monday. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jonathan Water.
Are you looking for a Medicare Advantage plan that lets you access out-of-network specialists without a referral? With the United Healthcare Medicare Advantage HMO POS plan, you